Now this is Adalitta Sutta. If you look at Vyaggapaja Sutta, wealth is taken differently. Different context. So that means you need to learn a lot of context to understand one concept. Is it a big challenge? What if you learn Rattapala Sutta? Money is very demonized in that sutta. That sutta demonizes money because Rattapala left the house. We'll be discussing is, as you can see, can you be rich or wealthy and a Buddhist at the same time? So I'm going to be using multiple suttas, multiple suttas to discuss this topic. Because this kind of a topic cannot be discussed in one sutta. What is the problem when you discuss this kind of a sutta with one sutta? You will end up with a misunderstanding. That is the same misunderstanding that many people have out there in society. What is it? The Buddhists cannot be rich. Why? They studied one sutta about wealth, and then in that sutta, unfortunately, somebody left the house, leaving all the money behind. And then now using only that sutta to talk about money. Let's take one of the suttas, Rattapala Sutta. Majjhima Nikaya 82. Okay, this sutta is a very specific sutta about somebody who is called Rattapala. So Rattapala was a wealthy man and he left the house, and then the Buddha asking him why you left the house, and then there are answers for that. Overall perspective of high-end Buddhist teachings is talking that the people have been slaves to their own money, and I want to find out some lasting happiness. So this is a very high-end kind of a thought. But this is not what the Buddha is talking about, money and wealth. So for those people who learn this Rattapala Sutta from a monk, you may have ended up with a wrong understanding that we all have to be Rattapala. Then you don't need to become lay people. Go become monks and nuns. Because Rattapala became a monk and monk at the end. Now you are looking for the teachings of the Buddha about how to look at money. What is the thought about Buddha? What is the thought of Buddha about money, and how to practice at the same time? What is the answer to this question? Can you be rich and a Buddhist at the same time? Forget about Buddhism. Can you be rich easily? Forget about Buddhism. Is being rich is very easy? It's not that easy. But perhaps due to certain akusala activities, someone can become rich in one night. Overnight, somebody can become rich. Maybe money laundering, black money, maybe certain akusala activities. One can become very rich. Also, somebody can buy a lottery and then become rich overnight. Right? So this can happen. But the other problem is how to stay rich. How to stay consistent in being rich. That is the other problem. You can make $2 million today, but if there are so many things to be spent on, and then how to stay consistent in their richness. So there are multiple things to discuss in this topic. The shortest answer to this question is yes. And I want to discuss about the Buddhist perspective about money. What is the Pali word for money? Pali word. So today we can use the whiteboard. Pali word, dhana, right? Dhana is money. Be careful, if you take out H, it's going to be dhana. But this is dhana. Dhana means money. But normally, Buddha does not take this topic with money. He uses a very inclusive word for this topic, money. He uses wealth. Wealth is what he uses. Wealth has a broader connotation. Then he talks about there are seven wealth. Forget about this physical money. Yeah, he talks about seven. What do you call? Uh, very valuable wealth. The first one is saddha. Saddha is the first wealth. Saddha means trust. Trust is a wealth. Why? You may have lots of physical money, but you don't have trust with the people that you are using that money, right? You may be holding couple of houses, but the person who you are living with, and you don't have trust, and then every day that money will be wasted, and you are not able to enjoy that money because you have trust problem. So saddha, trust. Then second is saddha dhanam, sila dhanam. Sila means what do you call? Yeah, you can say morality. It is a wealth because we invest in our uh, goodness, in our wholesome activities. Saddha sila. Saddha dhanam, sila dhanam. Hiri ottappa. I will write the Pali names first. Hiri ottappa. Saddha dhanam, sila dhanam, hiri ottappiyan dhanam. Then we have Sutta, Chaga, Panya. There is a sutta for that in Anguttara Nikaya, 7th section. So hiri means moral shame. Normally we are shy for unnecessary things, right? Asking someone to come up and then give a short talk will be a very shy experience, right? But to do akusala behind the scene is a very easy experience. There's no moral shame for that, right? But there is a shame for akusala activities, but that activity, that person is lots of courage. So moral shame, hiri. Ottappu, moral fear. Moral fear. That means Buddha proves a certain kind of fear in terms of doing akusala activities. Now, what are the sort of fears that we may have? This is not good for my journey, Dhamma journey. This is not good for my future life. And I will be punished in the penal code. And also, I may have to experience bad karma in the next life. So, there are multiple ways to look at fear. But this fear is not an irrational, it's a rational fear. Normally, our fears are very irrational. When you go to the bottom of the fear, you understand those fears are irrational. There's not a rational base for the fear. But this one is good. But with this fear, you are not stressed out. Normally, with other fears, you are very stressed and you are consuming lots of energy. You are very scared. Maybe you might get certain diseases or sicknesses too. But this one is a very healthy fear. You are taking it, you are using it to navigate your Dhamma journey. Right? So this is Ottappa. Also wealth. 7 types of wealth. 7 types of wealth. Then Sutta. Sutta means wide learning. Wide learning is a wealth too. Normally, wide learning. What is wide learning? Huh? Now, when you study Sutta, you are going through certain challenges. What is a very big challenge in the Sutta studies? Huh? Understanding is always a challenge. It is the default. It is the default challenge. What is the highest challenge? Normally, the biggest challenge. Normally, huh? It is also a default challenge. Laziness, not being able to commit to that study. The biggest challenge in Sutta study is that even though one Sutta talks about a certain subject matter, that subject matter is differently looked at in other Sutta. You get what I said? Let's say you study here, you study wealth. You study wealth here under this Sutta. We call it Adalid the Sutta, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Adalid the Sutta. Anguttara Nikaya. Now, this is Adalita Sutta. If you look at Vyaggapaja Sutta, wealth is taken differently, different context. So that means you need to learn a lot of context to understand one concept. Is it a big challenge? It is a big challenge. Then you should approach a teacher who knows this context. But if you learn Rattapala Sutta, money is very demonized in that sutta. That sutta demonizes money because Rattapala left the house because he is saying that I was a slave to the money, right? And in some Dhammapada stanza, it says, whatever the money, how much money you get, you are not happy about that money. Na kahapana vassena tittikamesu vicchati. Even though you had a shower of gold, you are not happy with that amount of gold, right? But it is a very provisional teaching about money because not everybody is like that. There are many people who are happy with what they got. They are not always expecting. Then you should be that person. Right? There's a Jataka story called, what is that? Suvanna Hansa Jataka. I'm going to add that here. Suvanna Hansa Jataka story.